it's Robin, also known as Robin. This is my small crochet business called Sweet Beans Crochet, where I make and sell crochet plushies. This video is going to be dedicated to how much money I made in 6 months with my crochet business. This is going over January to June of 2024. Let's be real, this is not just crochet. This is not just crochet plushies. This includes other platforms. This is me being a social media creator. There's a lot more that goes into this, and there's a lot more streams of revenue than I even knew existed when I first started my business. And trust me, there's even more. I'm not even involved in all the ways you can make money with crochet. I know I would have loved this information coming from someone who just started this at the beginning of the year. It would have been great to see the potential of this business and just how far it can grow. I'm going to be looking down at my iPad a couple times during this video because there is a ton of information on here. As I break down each month and as I break down each stream of revenue, I thought that might be interesting to see the growth. Also want to note that not only do I crochet plushies, bring them to markets, but I also hand paint safety eyes, so I sell those on my website. I have a YouTube that I've been making videos consistently every single week, and that's it. That's all I do. I do YouTube, I have an Etsy shop, I have my online business shop, and I also do markets. And the fees. Let's talk about how much money I spent. Not on the yarn, because I don't really talk about yarn cost. Honestly, I stopped calculating my yarn like a couple months into the business, so I don't have all of my material cost taken out of my like marketing events, if that makes sense. But I do account for the cost of gas, and then obviously the fees of the events themselves, and then all of the online charges that are a part of having an online store and card charging. The way that I started my business was actually just crocheting so much that I had to eventually sell it. So I sold at my first event in December of 2023. I'm going to be including that December market just because it was so late in the month of December and it was my first event. So I am going to be including that in my January through June overview. The month of January, I did 3 events. In the month of February, I did 3 events. In the month of March, I did 2. In the month of May, I did 1. In the month of June, I did 5. So altogether, I attended 14 events in 6 months. It's just over 1 event per month. And I paid $939 just in booth fees. Calculated my cost of supplies. This is me including my whole display. So everything in my display and my booth and my tables and the tent and all my marketing supplies, all of that cost me about $800. And that is a hefty price. And as someone who didn't know what I was getting into, luckily my full-time job helped me pay for a lot of these supplies when I was first starting. And I knew I would hopefully be earning all that money back once I started earning enough money with the crochet business. My supply cost and my gas cost for all 14 events was $1,400, and that is estimating the $800 for my display, which over time, obviously I keep using the same display, so that cost will go down. After all the events I did in June, I have learned my lesson, and I'm definitely not going to be attending as many and driving as far. That's a talk for another video. Profit after all the fees, so after taking into account all the fees, I profited $2,860 from doing 14 events, which is pretty good. Some of those events I came out with a negative balance, and some of those events I came out with an amazing profit. So it really varied, and over all the events that I did, almost $3,000 profit from selling plushies I feel is amazing. That was my highest profit in the 6 months, was me selling crochet plushies at markets. So that was the biggest number that you will see in this 6-month video. That's the starting number, is $2,800 from just selling plushies. I am in Florida, and I did attend markets up into Tampa. I went up to Wesley Chapel. I went all the way down to Cape Coral, so I drove a span. I drove a huge span just to attend events. All the gas was included in that fee price. To go over the Etsy sales. So with Etsy, I started selling my safety eyes. I hand paint them. They are clear back safety eyes that I hand paint. I used to do acrylic paint, and now I do resin, do special glitters, and I do pretty sparkly eyeballs. Started making the eyeballs and actually selling them starting in February or March of this year. So the sales from January, February, and March for Etsy are 0. I started actually selling on Etsy in April. April, I had $55 worth of Etsy sales. In May, I had $382 in Etsy sales. In June, I had $408. That makes my total for the 6-month check-in $845 just on Etsy and eyeballs. My fees for Etsy with eyeballs was $167. Moving into my Square website. So Square, I'm not sponsored by any of these people, by the way. I'm not sponsored by Square, but I do use their website platform because it is a free website. I'm able to customize it. I can add my logos. I can add any pictures I want. I can make it very customizable, and it's very market friendly. So I do take my products to market. So I already have them photographed and input in Square with my prices, and it's super easy to create a website from Square to sell online. There are a couple differences, and there is learning curve. There's something you have to like get used to, and changing your prices, making things hidden versus seen on your website. And overall, just designing it, obviously it took me a while, but after you get it set up, it is really easy to navigate. And I hope as a person purchasing, you're comfortable with the Square website. I know a lot of people do lean on Etsy because they are comfortable with the platform. It is easy to use and they're familiar with it. So people are comfortable using Etsy and purchasing from Etsy, which is why I still carry things on Etsy, and I will be listing more in the future. And when I promote myself and talk about my own website on here, it also helps you guys know that I have a website. So making sure your audience knows that's what you have and that's how you sell things. On my Square website, I started selling eyeballs and see the steady growth because I started off in March with $147. In April, it was $496. So I was painting a lot in April. In May, it was $473, and in June, it was $431. I started selling amigurumi sticks, which are sewing sticks that you put in your crochet plushies to help sew projects together. I started selling those in May, and I sold a total of 8 over those 2 months, $72, which was really cool because I use sewing sticks. I wanted them for myself, and I wanted to offer them to you guys if you wanted some cool special sticks. Thank you if you purchased any of these things from me, by the way. You're awesome. And if you haven't, that's okay. But wanted to just say thank you so much. If you do place orders with me, it really is the coolest thing. Square fees on my website, I paid them over the 6 months $112, which is less than Etsy. It's also cheaper for me to offer them to you guys. So not only am I offering my products to you for cheaper, but I'm getting charged less in transaction fees versus Etsy, where they charge higher transaction fees, so I have to charge more for my products. So it is a give and take. I do end up taking home the same amount for the same products. The transaction fees are really what the difference is, and even then I'm making what I should be making from Etsy. Over those 6 months, which is really just 4 months of eyeballs on my website, I made $1,547 from eyeballs and $72 from sewing sticks, making my total profit on my website $1,619, and that is after the fees have been taken out, which is amazing. That is a lot of money, and that is a lot of work also. If you take into account how many eyeballs that probably was, it was a lot of eyeballs. Finally, if you are curious about how much money I made on YouTube, this is where we get to the good stuff. This is the fun stuff. This is the monetization ? Yeah, I'm monetized on YouTube. I've been monetized on YouTube since February or March of this year because I had put out so many videos that had gotten attention, and I'm grateful I got lucky. People watched them. I hit it off with the algorithm. I think you have to catch enough people's attention for them to keep suggesting your video to other people. The conversion rate, like they tell you all this stuff in analytics, which I think would be a really cool video in the future. But today I'm just sticking to revenues. So if you want to know how much money I made on YouTube over the past 6 months, let me just tell you, it's mind-blowing that YouTube pays you for people to watch your free videos. And it's also such a blessing because long-form content is informational, long-form content is useful, and it's amazing that creators who do put the time in to edit long-form content can get paid through YouTube and ads. Opening up my YouTube finances. This was really cool also. I made my own spreadsheets using Google Sheets, which is a free Excel program. It's not really Excel, but it's a free Sheets program, so you can create spreadsheets and do math without mathing, and it's free. So I don't pay for Microsoft, and I'm able to use the free version through Google. So if you were wondering how to like create your own spreadsheets and stuff, I taught myself, and it's been really, really helpful for the business, especially doing these breakdowns. YouTube revenue in January, I made $0, and I put out 3 videos. February, I made $0, and I put out 2 videos. March, I made $672 and I put out 5 videos. April, I put out 4 videos and I made $396. In May, I made 4 videos and I made $310. And then in June, I made 3 videos and I made $423, meaning over 6 months, I put out 21 videos. A lot of them are vlogs or market videos, so market videos always do better for me when I post market content or market prep, but that's just my audience in the crochet community, I guess. But I also put out weekly vlogs, what I'm crocheting weekly, and then a couple, I think I have 1 pattern review video. In the 6 months that I was on YouTube and put out 21 videos, I made $1,800, which is insane. I can't thank you guys enough for watching my videos, but I hope stuff like this just makes it clear, like, I was doing this for fun because I wanted to anyway. Obviously, over time, I'm trying to get better at vlogging and making better content, making more informational content just like this. It's such a profitable, amazing outlet for creators. Also, you get to document all of your history. I get to go back if I want to and go see all of my market footage for the past year. I get to see how profitable or non-profitable I was at each event. I can go back and see my emotions through the event. I can go back and see the experience that I had again. I can go back and see tips and tricks. So it's such a great documentation tool also, depending on how you use it. But this crochet business is really personal to me. So the fact that I was able to make all this money from investing this amount of care is amazing. For the finances, to just do a little overall addition if you want to. Etsy was $845 in 6 months. YouTube, $1,800. My eyeballs and sewing sticks on my website was $1,547. And doing markets profited me $2,860. Meaning I made $7,000 off of my crochet business in 6 months. That was with me working so hard, and also I have a full-time job, so if I didn't have a full-time job and if this was my full-time job, I'd be investing even more time and energy, and who knows what I could create in that amount of time. I believe that this is really happening. I can't believe I was able to make $7,000 off of this, like off of yarn, and then obviously my personality, I guess, if you guys enjoy that. So I wrote down all the fees, like adding them all up, just so we can see a little comparison of the two. All the fees. My Etsy was $167, just to recap. YouTube, I have a question mark because they don't charge me fees, but I know I have to pay them taxes. So I know I'm not gonna make that full $1,800 back. I know I have to store money away for taxes, and that just includes everything. So over the $7,000 that I profited with my business, that doesn't include the money I have to save for taxes. So just wanted to also throw that in there, that the $7,000 is not pure $7,000 of profit. I still have to chunk away money for when tax season comes. I have to pay taxes for the business. So YouTube is a question mark. Don't know about the fees on that one. The website was $112, and my market, display, gas, and fees for markets was $2,300. So my total cost for all of this was $2,600. $2,600 of cost, not including yarn, and then profit of $7,000. The fact that I was able to even make money off of this and make this a profitable thing is amazing. To see even future growth would be really cool too, but I just wanted some financial transparency on here. I know I would have loved this information when I was beginning. And on top of that, when you throw yourself into the YouTube and when you throw yourself into the Instagram community here with fiber artists and honestly marketeers in general, I'm starting to shift myself into convention era. I don't even know how this is gonna go, but I'm really hoping it goes well. And throwing myself into all of these communities, into this whole community, has made me gain so many friends, such a positive outlook on this small business in general. Instead of it being me being alone all the time crocheting by myself, it is so much more than that. Welcome to part 2, where I go over all of the pattern tests I've done in the past 6 months, because oh my gosh, I've met so many cool artists through Instagram and through YouTube, but all of the tests that I've applied for have all been through Instagram, so I apply on there. You normally have to post something to your story. A pattern test is where you apply to help someone else test their crochet pattern so that they can sell it and hopefully find any errors and get help promoting their product, their pattern. Pattern testing is amazing, to say the least, I ever did. I'm gonna be pulling up my own pictures on Instagram here, okay? Ivory Rose Artistry. But she was the first person I ever pattern tested for, and that was back in January of this year. So January, I did my first pattern test for her. She trusted me to test her pattern. Chip the Squishy Squirrel was the first time I actually put glittery safety eyes into a plushie. And then shortly after, I did a pattern test for Am I by Abby, or Amy by Abby, which was Penelope the pig, her cute pig pattern. Don't mind the chew marks in my iPad cover, okay? I have bunnies. They're my logo. Maui and Hinata are my absolute world, but they chew on everything. So my iPad case gets the brunt of it. They love it. They love eating it, so. Two lovely creators, nana.crochet_ and Lil's Lovies. And it was Bean the Bunny. This is a free pattern on their page, but Bean the Bunny is so cute. And I pattern tested loops with Lauren. I did Lucas the walrus, and he was this cute walrus. I made it a female, but look at her. Pattern tested again for Ivory Rose Artistry for Sydney. It was Minnow the dragon. This is the first Minnow that I made. This is such a cool pattern. You guys, this is such a cool pattern. If you're willing to sew, you should do that. And then I pattern tested Hugh the little rainbow bub, Willow and Wild. I love her patterns. They're so cute and tiny. They end up so quick. His color changes are so chaotic, but he's so worth it. Philo the bunny by Knots by Meadow. Cute bunny pattern. It's a famous pattern by Lemon Cat Crochet, but back in February, I pattern tested for Kato the dragon, and I made him this Sunset Fire Dragon, and this is, to date, probably my favorite dragon I've ever made, next to the other Kato that I made, which is featured on my Instagram page. But Kato is such a phenomenal pattern, and I'm so grateful that I was able to test for her back in February, because oh my gosh, what a dream that was. Oak Hill Stitches, these are her Pom Pals. My idea with this was it'd be great for markets, for little baby hands, so babies could touch them, hold them, and not worry about the eyeballs. The only problem with this is I had a really hard time selling them after I made all of them, so I don't think I was able to really market it the way that I was thinking in my head. I think if I made a couple more signs saying no eyeballs, safe for babies, this would have sold better for me. So just a tip in the future, signage definitely helps you sell products. Ivory Rose Artistry again. Ivy the dragon, so cute little baby dragons. At Dawn Crochet, this is her Snuggler Cow. I did pink and a regular colored one, so they were like boyfriend and girlfriend. I still have both of those snugglers. They're so cute. Crochet by Janina. She's another YouTuber on here, but she also makes tons of little patterns. This is her funny ostrich from Stardew Valley. I actually don't play Stardew Valley, which I probably should get on that. But this is a little ostrich that I made from her pattern. Such a fun test. All the ostriches were so derpy. And Lumi Loops had this cute little doll that I pattern tested for. Little muñecas is what I was thinking. The Belle and Scarlet release by Studio Stitch CA. And let me just tell you how much of a dream this test was. I've made Studio Stitch CA bunnies multiple times in my career before I pattern tested for her. So the fact that she chose me to test for her in March, I was blown away. I was so excited to test for her. But she had these adorable little fairy bunnies. So there was a fairy bunny, and then she had a Little Red Riding Hood bunny, and together this fairy tale was just, it was such a sweet way to have bunnies. Actually, I think I still have them because I priced them highly. They took me a lot of time, and I still value the work that I did then because it is so beautiful. These bunnies, this pattern is so cool. And then there was Halen the Moth by Knotted Cat. This was such a cool pattern test to be a part of. Also, all the little variations of moths, and I have a moth tattoo on the back of my arm that you can't see right now, but this was such a cool test to do. And it's relatively low-sew, I believe, low-sew, really simple. Test I did for Crojo Mojo. I love these bunnies. They sold immediately. I couldn't even keep them. They were so cute, and they sold for 40 bucks each. Immediately sold. This was back in March. If you couldn't tell, from February to March, I tested for like 10 different people. This was insane. So many tests. And a lot of bunnies. I'm obsessed with bunnies. Jasper and Blossom. This was a jackalope bunny pattern. For Straight Up Handmade, also very sweet human. It was really cool to test for her. And for Nana Crochet, we have Belle the bunny. This is one of my favorite bunnies to date to make. She is so cute. And you know what? I need to go make some of her tonight, probably, because look how cute she is. This is reminding me how cute she is. Zero Gravity Crochet. She had these little babies in costumes. So I had little dinosaur baby, and my sister actually has him because she loved him. She fell in love with the little dinosaur baby. That's the Elephant by Loops and Knots Crochet. She was so cool to test for too. I watch her videos. She's here on YouTube also. But This was a really cool elephant to test. He's so tiny. I made Samba before I made him, and he's like a little mini baby. So it's like Samba's baby when I had them next to each other on the table. It was cute. And Crochet by Callie put out all of her bunnies, and I did this like little rainbow bunny number for her. These were really quick bunnies that took me, I want to say, under an hour, for sure under an hour each. And they were like my little peep bunnies, my little rainbow peeps. They were really neat too. I really admire all the tests that I did because it's a lot of work, but it's also so much connection, and I can't believe I did this many tests. Did Theo the teddy bear for Lil's Lovies again. You can kind of see there's a trend with me reapplying for the same creators. But I made him a Kakashi bear, so if you could tell if that's who the character is. In Shaynessa Studio, I tested her Hey Hey. He's the coolest Hey Hey to date I've seen. And then I made him a little Moana, but he took a lot of work. He is such a cool piece to have, and honestly, if you're comfortable sewing, again, I think you should make him. We're almost into June, so I just have a couple more tests to show you, but this is Ivory Rose Artistry again. This is Lapras, the cutest little Pokemon. I still have Lapras. I refuse to sell him. He's my favorite. One of my favorite things I've ever made is him, so he is still here. I still have him. He is mine. Her Poplio, I actually recently sold him. He sold to Chris on my website. Thank you, Chris, if you're watching this video. Thank you, and I hope you love him, or if he's for a loved one, I hope they love him, because look at him. This is Poplio. But he recently sold on my website, but look how cute he is. This was so cool. I was so proud. Every time, when they just come out so well, you know, you just feel a certain type of way about it. This is Nimbus by Kai's Crochet Corner. He's a 6-legged dragon. I gave him really special eyes, and he's got gold wings. This was a cool piece to work on too. And it's such a blessing when I get to work with them because they're just such talented artists, and I would be creating their patterns probably anyway because they're just so amazing. Market friendly? Probably not, but cute nonetheless. This is Darcy the Duck by Melly Inspired Crochet, my bestie here on YouTube. You hear her patterns frequently because I make them, but this is Darcy the Duck, little pattern test I did with her. Darcy is so cute, and you can make her in so many different variations. Like, look, I made 3 Darcys. That's it. That's all that I tested from January to June. That's all the money that I made for my crochet business, and just some insight on my fees, what I paid, and then obviously there's a lot of time that I've invested in this that I'm not accounting for technically. I'm hoping to come out with this 6-month update every 6 months for my business. I'm saying that here to hold myself accountable, but also think it would be a great way to be financially transparent with you guys who are probably curious the same way that I was about this crochet business and all the things that it means. Other people also, little asterisk in this, other people also do like paid promotions, have sponsorships, and those are all other ways you can also make money from this business. I personally don't have any sponsorships or paid partnerships, any other way I'm currently making money from the business, but those are all the avenues that I'm making, and if I ever do get a paid sponsorship, y'all will be the first to hear about it. Hope you enjoyed going over all the numbers with me today, and I hope I can catch you in my next video where I go over all the stuff I'm market prepping for my convention. I'll see you next week. Bye.